Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is RJ Kelly. I am here today. I'm trying out this special thing that I've been wanting to try to do. I've been wanting to try to get into streaming or talking about wrestling or something. I've tried podcasting. I've tried all sorts of different stuff. And this upcoming week is one of the biggest weeks in all of pro wrestling. It's WrestleMania week, and starting today, April 4th, for the next 13 days, there is at least one show every single day. And my intentions are to try to watch every single show, and around this time, 11 o'clock Eastern, midnight Eastern, come onto YouTube Live and review that day's show and or shows. Uh, as I'll get to later, the schedule is a little crazy with multiple shows per day. I mean, tomorrow, the second day I'm going to try this is Raw, which is 3 hours, and AEW Dark Elevation, which is routinely over the last 3 weeks been 2.5 hours. I doubt I'm going to be able to review all of those. I'll probably give the quick results for AEW Dark Elevation, but Raw, I will review in its entirety on here. And the first show, which has nothing to do with WrestleMania, is New Japan Pro Wrestling's Sakura Genesis show. So I will be going through that today. If you'd like to chat, if you'd like to talk about the show with me, feel free to hop in. I should be able to see questions or chats on here somewhere, possibly. But we will talk about the show. So, New Japan has kind of been in, I don't want to say a rut. Dave Meltzer a few weeks ago, when they did their 49th anniversary show, and it was headlined by the, at the time, double champion Kota Ibushi against the junior heavyweight champion El Desperado. He called the company creatively bankrupt because they ran a Budokan Hall show with Ibushi versus Desperado, of all matches, as the main event. Now, a logical person sees that and they think, okay, you wanted to do Ibushi versus Hiromu in a big singles match, but, Hiromu got hurt just a couple weeks prior to that, so, I mean, obviously you can't do the match. I mean, that was the big money match. Could that have done a pretty big house of Budokan? Probably. Hiromu's really popular, Ibushi's really popular. They'd have probably killed each other. It would have been a really, really great match. Unfortunately, you just had to kind of stick with the plan and go with the heavyweight champion versus junior champion, which they've done forever. I mean, you could have completely rolled the dice and done like Ibushi versus Jay White, or done like some random title defense, Ibushi and Tanahashi or something. But like, just stick with tradition. It's the anniversary show. It's not that big of a deal. I mean, a couple years ago, Okada wrestled Ibushi when he was Tiger Mask W. So like, it doesn't always have to be junior versus heavyweight champion. So he called them creatively bankrupt for that. I think it was just making the best out of a bad situation. Over the next month, they did the New Japan Cup. And the New Japan Cup last year was canceled due to COVID. They ran it in June and July, and I thought it was kind of underwhelming, just making Evil the champion and pushing Evil as hard as they did. And I'll get to that later. But I don't know. I think this year's New Japan Cup was much better, and it all led to the crowning of Will Ospreay as number one contender, knocking off Shingo Takagi in the main event and the finals of the New Japan Cup. Which I was a fan of. I'm a big Will Ospreay fan. I know a lot of people aren't. I know the kind of in vogue thing right now is to kind of dunk on Will Ospreay for some of the stuff he's been doing, but I think that let me set up some things for really quick. Okay, that's fine. See if I can change the title. I'm sorry, I'm doing this live. a lot of people dislike Will Ospreay. It's kind of the popular thing to do to dunk on him right now, but I think he's a really great wrestler. I think he's a fantastic wrestler. I think he has a lot of charisma. He's grown as a performer so much, especially since turning heel. He has gotten a lot better. He's got a stable around him, and I'm a big fan, so I had no problem with that. They ran an angle afterwards where he beat up B. Priestley, his girlfriend, who had been with him and helping him. He said, "I'd do anything. I would, do anything to anyone, sacrifice anything and anyone," and just turned around and gave her an RKO and knocked her out. And a lot of people didn't like that angle. They called it domestic violence, and it's like, if you really want to get nitpicky and dislike it, that's fine. But I mean, 2 weeks ago on Raw, Randy Orton did the same thing to Alexa Bliss, and everybody was hopping up and down. And for the record, Will Ospreay and Randy Orton are two of my favorite wrestlers, so I'm gonna kind of paint with a bit of a thinner brush there when it comes to things with those two guys, because I think they're both great. So anyway, Ospreay's the champion, comes out in the New Japan Cup, and he's gonna challenge Kota Ibushi in the main event for this show. I mean, they're in sort of a rut right now. Watching this show, there's a lot of things on the show I'm not really a fan of that we'll get into, but they're limited by the crowds for sure. It's still limited seating, limited attendance at these shows, although it's not as bad as like America. Korakuen the other day I think did like 300 fans or something, like some astronomically bad number. And they're still not allowed to cheer. They're still not allowed to boo or make noise. They're only allowed to clap. So, you're limited in the crowd reactions you can get. You're limited into the amount of heat you can get for a big heel. So I think a lot of the things they're doing are really difficult to kind of grasp the full depth of. Will Ospreay's heel turn could have been this big thing with all these people booing and stuff, but all they can do is clap, so it sounds positive. Or they're just sitting there in abject silence, which is even weirder. So it's really difficult. New Japan's in a really difficult spot right now. The New Japan Cup was really good, with Ospreay carrying the whole tournament. He had a 5-star match against Zack Sabre. He had a really great match against David Finlay, and then the finals against Shingo was really great. Shingo himself had a great tournament. He beat Okada in the first round in a really, really good match. He had good matches up and down his side of the bracket as well. So, they capped it off really well, and he's getting the next title shot coming out of this show. So they have set themselves up pretty nicely. But I feel like right now, aside from the world title picture, I don't really know what they're doing. They have a lot of guys hurt. They can't get any foreigners in. Things are just kind of the same. They're trying some different stuff, like with some heel turns, with this new United Empire faction, and it's going pretty good. But it's not. I don't know. We'll get into it. Let's just hop into it, and then we can start kind of talking about this stuff, because a lot of this stuff is match and group and person specific. So, Sakura Genesis, April 4th, 2021, from Ryogoku Sumo Hall in Tokyo, Japan. First match on the card, Suzuki-gun, Taichi, Zack Sabre, and Doki versus Bullet Club, Tamatonga, Tangaloa, and Jado. I wish this feud would end. I really do. I think it's been really cool seeing Zack Sabre and Taichi as like the babyface tag team, when before they were like just the biggest heels, and they were great as a heel tag team. But pivoting and having babyface Zack Sabre Jr. has been a lot of fun, and babyface Taichi, like a lot of people started cheering him kind of as a tongue-in-cheek, like ironic thing. Like, he's so bad, he's so awful, but like he's actually kind of good, and we kind of like how goofy and stupid his act is. So like we're gonna cheer him. But now it's like, he's actually awesome, and he's a babyface, and we hate the Bullet Club, so let's cheer Taichi. It's really cool. But this feud has just not been good. Anything with the Japan Bullet Club right now has just been really bad. They bungled a lot of the stuff with Jay White. And I don't know if that was going into business for himself or what, in his post-Tokyo Dome press conference, where he like went crazy laughing and fell off his chair and said he was quitting and then left for a month. I don't know if that was just him going into business for himself and creating some buzz and trying to generate some buzz around himself, but what they've done coming off of that has been nothing. They're doing the same old stuff. It's the same old interference. It's the same old getting involved in the matches and cheating and the weapon shots and Dick Togo and Jado and Gato. I'm over it, man. It's not good. And with no fans, you're not even getting boos. You're just getting silence and bad matches. So, like, what are you really getting out of this? So, anyway, the Guerrillas of Destiny, they're the tag team champions. Zack Sabre and Taichi, their last challenge for the title, they lost due to disqualification when Taichi used the Iron Fingers in front of the referee. The story behind the Iron Fingers is that Takashi Iizuka had them, the crazy wild man who ran all over the place. He had the Iron Fingers and went it, and so there's some kind of evil spirit in the fingers. So when when you put them on, you just get caught up with this evil spirit and want to kill everybody. So Taichi put him on, he killed everybody, they got disqualified. So in this match, they're looking for, I guess, setting up another tag team title shot. They got the win when Sabre pinned, I believe, Tangaloa with a almost botched European clutch. It was really bad. Like, he didn't get him over all the way, and they kind of had to, like, sit there and position themselves, and then he bent back and did the bridge and then pinned him. So he was pinned for, like, 7 seconds. Just not a good match. I'm not a fan of this. I want this all to be over. This Bullet Club thing needs to change and just be something else, because I'll get to it in the next match. But, yeah, I mean, fine opener. It wasn't anything special. Next match, more Bullet Club. Evil, Kenta, Yujiro Takahashi, Taiji Ishimori, and Dick Togo versus Chaos. Kazuchika Okada, Toru Yano, Hiroki Goto, Tomohiro Ishii, and Yoshihashi. So, the big stories coming out of this, I guess Yano and either Evil or Dick Togo are going to have a blindfold match or like a bag over the head match or something for the King of Pro Wrestling title, which could have been something really cool, but it's instead been comedy BS. So, I don't even think about it. And again, with no fans, you're not even getting people laughing at Yano's ridiculousness. With no fans, you're not getting people mad at Dick Togo or Evil or Kenta or anything. You're just getting bad matches. Poor Okada, his back still hurts, and I think this is the best thing for him right now, is just doing these 4 or 5 man tag matches where he comes in, does a couple things, and leaves. But the thing with Bullet Club, just look at the screen at the Bullet Club team. They're all Japanese. And Bullet Club was founded with all gaijin, the foreigners. Prince Devitt, Carl Anderson, Bad Luck Fale, Tama Tonga, not Japanese people, specifically. And it was a big deal when they got AJ and Luke Gallows and the Young Bucks and all these people coming in. And then they added Yujiro, their like token Japanese guy in the Bullet Club. And it was like, okay, this is cool. And then you got Kenny Omega, add him in, add Marty Scurll, add Adam Cole, Hangman Page, all those guys in. And then, all of a sudden, you add Ishimori. He comes in as the Bone Soldier. It's like, okay, this is cool. You had Jay White. Okay, another gaijin. He kind of fits in. And then from there, it was like, okay, now Evil's in the Bullet Club. Okay, now Kenta's in the Bullet Club. And there's like all these Japanese in the Bullet Club now. Jado and Gato went from being in Chaos to now being in Bullet Club. And it's just, it's taking away from what the group used to be, which was the gaijins bringing the Americanized style pro wrestling. Like, Evil was great. He was an LIJ. He fit right into that, like, never title division, the hard hitting, the strong style, all that kind of stuff. He fit in perfectly with that. He didn't cheat. He didn't do any of that crazy stuff. He did the chair on the head thing, which, I mean, that's fine. But, like, he didn't cheat in all of his matches. He didn't have interference in all of his matches. Kenta was the same way. When he came in, did that brief little run, he didn't really get over because he was from Noah, but, like, he didn't cheat in his matches. So, like, now they're in Bullet Club, now they cheat. Like, I don't get it, and it's a total disconnect for me, and especially with no fans right now, like, it's just not working. And maybe it's because there's no fans and you can't get foreigners here because of travel restrictions that you have all these Japanese guys in there, but, like, it's just not what Bullet Club is. These guys could be doing way different stuff. And mired in a 10-man comedy tag where Yano is the figurehead of the whole match. it's a waste of Kenta. It's a waste of Evil. It's a waste of Ishimori. It's a waste of all the Chaos guys. They could be doing other stuff right now. So again, not really a fan of this match. The stupid jokes that Kevin Kelly and them do whenever I get kind of a kick out of it when Yano cheats and they're like, "Oh my god, our monitors just went out. What happened? We didn't see it. I didn't see him cheat. What's going on?" Like, it's kind of funny, but Yano wins by low blowing Evil, putting a bag over Dick Togo's head and then rolling him up and pinning him. So, like I said, we're heading towards a blindfold match, I guess. From the looks of it, Yujiro and Ishii had some pretty good interactions in there. Yujiro was getting some big moves and Ishii was selling. And I guess they're going to lead to a 6-man tag title match at some point, because I think Ishii, Goto, and Yoshihashi are the 6-man tag team champions. So I guess we're heading there at some point, probably. Next match before intermission, LIJ, the team of Naito, Sanada, and Shingo Takagi versus the United Empire with Great Okan, Jeff Cobb, and X, who was revealed, I do not have a graphic for this, it was revealed to be Aaron Hanare, the rebranded Toa Hanare. He came out to the ring looking like Masahiro Chono. He had this really cool vest on. He had cool sunglasses on. Looked badass. Looked awesome. Was wearing gloves and stuff. Looked just like a young Chono or something. So he has officially joined the United Empire, which is great for him. A lot of people thought he might be the guy to go heel. He'd been teasing it for a while because he'd been losing a lot of matches. Teaming with Tanahashi, and I guess he was just like, I can't do this anymore. And he actually faked a lot of people out because he said he was going to travel out of the country, and he was apparently, I tried looking it up, but I couldn't find it. I guess he deleted the pictures, but apparently he was like saying how he was stuck at immigration. He had issues with his passport. He didn't know what was going on, and then all of a sudden, boom, he pops up here. So, pretty good little piece of business there, faking some people out and throwing them off the scent. So that's really cool. The match was really good, actually, given that all 6 of these guys are pretty good. The story was Okan working over Naito's leg most of the match. Of course, Great Okan beat Naito in the New Japan Cup with a leg lock in that first round. Shingo was awesome. He was one of the stars of the match. He got a hot tag and was going, I mean, even for Shingo's pace, he was going really fast, flying around, hitting guys. Him and Cobb had some really great interactions. Him and Hanare had some really great interactions. And Sanada was really good in this match, too. He had a lot of cool interactions with Cobb and Okan and everything. Jeff Cobb has been fantastic this year so far, from his 5-star match with Shingo at the Dome to being great in the New Japan Cup, throwing Wado around like he weighs nothing. Like, he's had a really good year, and he was really, really good in this match, too. He had some really good moments. The finish was really cool. Him and Hanare were trying to tag team Sanada. Sanada was fighting off both of them. He did his little flip in the corner where he flips over the ropes and then in one motion jumps up into a springboard dropkick. But he jumped up into the dropkick. Hanare ducked. He landed on his feet. Cobb basically caught him and then swung him around, slammed him with the Tour of the Islands. Hanare picked him up, hit a Death Valley driver, and pinned Sanada. So Hanare re-debuts, gets a new name, gets a new look, gets a new stable, gets a new finisher, and then pins Sanada, the guy who was the finalist in the G1 last year. So really, really great showing for Hanare. I love him in this group. Seeing him later on with all 4 guys with Ospreay, he fits in perfectly for this multicultural faction that they're doing. They don't really cheat either. I mean, Okan's a little slimy and Cobb is a little slimy, but they don't really cheat. They're just badass dudes, and it's a really great stable. I really enjoy it. Maybe it's just because I'm a Will Ospreay mark, but I really like this stable, and I think them versus LIJ has a lot of legs, especially since Shingo is the next challenger. There's gonna be some fun stuff coming up, I think, with all this whole grouping of guys. There's a lot of things you can do, and a lot of things coming out of this that they can do. So really, really fun match for the third match on the card. After intermission, we got Tanahashi, the never openweight champion, and Satoshi Kojima versus Jay White and Bad Luck Fale. Not much to this match. Kojima hit a lariat on Fale, and then Tanahashi pinned him with the high fly flow. And after the match, Tanahashi took down Jay White and put him in the cloverleaf and held it on and cranked it on, which was a little heelish of Tanahashi. That kind of caught me off guard. I wasn't really expecting that. But he said he did it because Jay wanted. Apparently, Jay White's been wanting a never openweight title match because he beat Tanahashi in the New Japan Cup, but Tanahashi's refusing to give him one. So, in a weird twist, Tanahashi took him down, put him in the cloverleaf, made him tap out after the match. The bell's ringing, people were yelling, trying to get him off and stuff. And he said, I beat you and I took you down, so now I'll give you a title match. Jay White called, I think he had like an Indian Deathlock or something like that, or like a reverse figure four, and he called it the Tanahashi Tap Out, the TTO. So Tanahashi cut a promo and he said, I call my move the JTO, J Tap Out, and Jay White left. So kind of interesting little match here. I mean, you don't really need a story, and it's a kind of a goofy story, but it's cool that they're doing Tanahashi and Jay White for the Never title. They need a secondary title, and I'd have preferred the Never Openweight title to kind of stay like it was with its own little separate division and separate core guys. The Ishis and Evil and Makabe, Shingo, guys like that, the hard-hitting, strong style, a lot of striking, those kind of matches, rather than, a more heavyweight main event style, which is why that's where the Intercontinental title came into play, because it's not the main heavyweight title, but you could still have guys who aren't ready for that, have something to do that aren't getting a title shot. You know what I mean? Like, guys like Tanahashi and Jay White are like the perfect two, because Jay White's not a never open weight title kind of guy. He could probably go into those deep waters with the strikes and all that stuff, but White's matches are a lot more psychological. They're a lot more slow paced. They're a lot more like pick a body part and work it, where like an Ishii match is just, I'm gonna hit you and headbutt you and kick you and punch you and then brainbuster you. Like, that's an Ishii match. Shingo's the same way. It's just clothesline, punch, shoulder tackle, big slam. Like, it's not a psychological work the leg match. Tanahashi is the opposite. He's total like work the leg the whole time, dragon screws, cloverleaf, that kind of thing. So that's a little unfortunate that the Never titles kind of go in that route, but they need a secondary title. So I mean, I guess they just got to kind of do what they got to do for the time being. But nice little match, and it leads to a title match down the line for those two. Semi-main event is for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championship. Suzuki-gun, El Desperado, and Yoshinobu Kanemaru versus Roppongi 3K with Sho and the returning Yo. Yo returned from a really bad knee injury almost exactly a year ago. Actually, it was in July, so it wasn't exactly a year ago, but he missed a lot of time. And during that time, Sho really took the ball and ran with it. He had a really good showing in the New Japan Cup. He had some good matches with Shingo Takagi. He had good showing in Best of the Super Juniors last fall. A lot of really, really good matches in that as well. Did not make the finals. Didn't really do anything at the Dome. He did have a match against Hiromu at the last pay-per-view, the New Beginning shows, which was pretty good. But he definitely benefited from Yo being gone, having that standout singles opportunity. Not sure he's ready to move up yet, and just like because they won the titles here, spoilers. But it is cool seeing them two back together. I think Yo's really good. I thought Yo was always going to be groomed to be the star of the tag team, because prior to Excursion, he was Tanahashi's like hand-picked young lion. Whenever Tanahashi needed like a young lion or some tag team partner, Yohei was always the guy. So I assumed he was, but then once they brought the two of them back to New Japan, made him Roppongi 3K, Sho was the standout of the tag team. He had the better physique, he was muscular, the moveset was cooler, he worked in some MMA stuff. So he became the star of the tag team. And while the tag team is really good, you're always kind of waiting for the breakup, especially with things like this, the Jannetty, the Shawn and Jannetty kind of thing, like who's gonna turn on who's gonna break out. And they could be going that way. I don't know, because Yo came back from injury. He immediately was like, we're challenging for the tag titles. It wasn't like Sho and Yo together made the statement. Yo just came back and he's like, no, we're picking right up where we left off. Yo actually won this match. They beat Desperado. He pinned Kanemaru with like a butterfly spinning suplex. Looked really brutal. After they had hit their finisher, the Strong X, which was like a pile driver drop kick, like the thing the Lucha Brothers do, where they had the pile driver and then come off the top rope with a drop kick and like spike him down. They hit that, and then Desperado broke it up. Sho dragged Desperado out of the ring. Yo hit the move and pinned Kanemaru, and then afterwards declared that he wanted the junior heavyweight title. So I guess he's going to challenge Desperado next for the title, and maybe he'll be the next double champion. I'm not sure. This was a really, really good match. I know I'm kind of glossing over a lot of this stuff. I didn't take really any notes. I was working on something else while watching the show. But this was a really, really fun match. I think Kanemaru and Desperado are a really good tag team. Desperado's kind of on a big stride right now, given that he was a double champion. He's the junior heavyweight champion. And Roppongi 3K is a great tag team. Seeing them back together, hitting all their big moves and stuff like that. Yo's selling of his leg was really good. Sho showed a lot of fire. So, like, they're a really good tag team, and these two groups gel together really, really well. So, this was a lot of fun to see. I'm glad Roppongi 3K won the tag titles. If it were me, I would just combine the two divisions already. I know that you have some really small guys in the junior tag division and potentially some really big guys in the heavyweight tag division, but like it's like the same thing with the WWE women's tag titles. You have a couple tag teams that are like ready-made, like the Riot Squad, they're ready-made. But then you have teams that are just thrown together, like Mandy and Dana, and Nia and Shayna Baszler, and NXT threw together Shotzi and Ember. They were not a ready-made tag team. Not like Indy, Hartwell, and Candice, who were in a stable together, or Dakota and Raquel, who were together before the women's tag titles were even around. Like, they paired up together. I just think, or the thing that they're doing with like Asuka and Charlotte, or Asuka and Becky, or Becky and Charlotte, or just taking two random people, sticking them together, and now they're a team. It's just, there's not enough people in the junior division to do that right now, anyways. Especially with the restrictions and stuff like that. There's no Ricochet. There's no Ospreay moved up to heavyweight. Hiromu's hurt. Bushi's the only singles junior in LIJ. So there's not a lot you can do, and like they won the titles, they're just gonna ping pong them back and forth. Or El Phantasmo and Ishimori, they'll bring those two back in, and it's like just the same three tag teams. And you need something new, you need something different, and I really wish they would just combine the titles. You'd get like God and Roppongi 3K. That sounds awesome. That sounds really good. Zack Sabre Jr. and Taichi versus Roppongi 3K. Zack Sabre Jr. and Taichi versus Ishimori and Phantasmo. That sounds really good. There's a lot of matches you could do that would be really good, that you could combine the divisions. Then if you want to do that, you have at least more people you could pair up, like like open weight tag team titles, almost like Ishii and Sho, just to throw out two random names. Taguchi and God, I don't even know. Pretend he's not in the United Empire. Taguchi and Jeff Cobb. Just like you could do goofy stuff like that, and it would be really cool. You might get a really good tag team out of it. You never know. So I just really wish they would do that, because it's going to be just the same 2 or 3 teams ping-ponging for months and months on end. And I know New Japan's better than that. I know they're capable of better. But a tag team division is something they've never done well historically, and especially since I've started watching New Japan. Just nothing they've ever done well. So good match. I'm glad that we have new champions. I'm glad they kind of set up a title match, a singles title match down the road for this. And they were talking a lot about Phantasmo and Nishimori, but I'm just really ready for a combined tag division. I thought they were gonna go that way with the Young Bucks. They were kind of hinting towards it and pushing all those buttons, but I guess not. And the main event, the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, Kota Ibushi versus Will Ospreay. They did, much to my my liking, they did keep the roll call, or at least some form of it. Instead of going through each and every champion, they had like a roll of championship wins and celebrations and things like that, showing a lot of the former champions. Not every single one, but most of them. Before the match, acknowledging though that Kota Ibushi was the first world heavyweight champion, but they did show all the previous heavyweight champions and intercontinental champions and said like they're merging the histories and merging the legacies. But the cool music, the roll call, all great, and I really love that. So they come out. Ospreay has his whole team now with him. Jeff Cobb, Aaron Henare, and Great-O-Khan. They did not get involved at all. They were just there helping him out, which I appreciate wholly. I hate when, they bring people to ringside and it's like an evil situation, or he stopped doing it, but like Omega would do with the Young Bucks, he would bring them to ringside and they would get involved. Ospreay so far has not done that. When he had Bea Priestley, she would get involved a little bit in like the beginning, but then for the most part she'd just be like a cheerleader at ringside. Like he'd hit a big move, he'd be hurt, and she'd come over and like, "You're okay, come on, get up, and like help him in the ring." And it was really cool because I added a lot to the match rather than just her getting in the way or getting involved or pulling a guy out of the ring or hitting him or distracting him or something. I like that. I like when there's a guy in the corner who doesn't get involved, but he adds to the match. And they didn't add to the match, but they didn't get involved, so it's still kind of a win. They didn't actively take away from anything, but I like that they were out there because they gave it like that gravitas. This very much felt like the first step kind of thing. I can kind of equate it to when AJ won his first title against Okada in his first match at the Yokohama Arena show. He beat AJ, and it was very much like a quick match. It wasn't anything too special, especially compared to the matches they'd have later on, like in the G1 or in the Dominion in 2015 was the one I loved to death. It was nothing like that. It was just a short match. AJ won the title. Instantly elevated. Jay White, when he won the title and beat Tanahashi, again, same kind of match. Just boom, instantly elevated. Nothing special, nothing crazy, but a solid match, a decisive win, and he's a champion now. They tend to do that when they make a new star or they put a new guy over. They just they know that the rematch is coming. They know they're going to make money off the rematch. Ibushi and Ospreay, that's a big match. They've had really great matches in the past, whether it be in the G1, whether it be Super Juniors or anything like that. The Tokyo Dome match they had for the Never Openweight title a couple years ago, which is fantastic. They know they can make money off this match. And so this was very much like chapter 1 of the rivalry rather than like a big blow-off or something. This was Will Ospreay. He won the New Japan Cup. He's a heavyweight now. This is his first crack at the title, and this was like the first step for him. So they very much worked the match like that. Very slow paced in the beginning. Some really cool exchanges. Some really great stuff. But Ospreay's a heel now. He's working a slower pace, and more taking apart a body part, getting heat. Which again, with no crowd, they can't boo. Is it working? You don't really know. He's it kind of reminds me of like Neville when Neville / Pac when he turned heel in WWE and was doing the King of the Cruiserweights thing. He stopped doing the flashy, super quick style. Like there's a sequence he always used to do where he would kick a guy, then he'd do a spin kick, then he kick the guy, do a spin kick, kick the guy, do a spin kick. And then the guy would drop to a knee. He'd bounce off the ropes real quick and come back and hit him with a drop kick. And it was like boom, 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 bounce off the ropes, boom. It was like so quick how he did it. When he was a heel, then it was kick, and then wait, and then wait, and then line up, and then boom, the spin kick. And like all of his shots were slower and more deliberate and like harder, and it just added that extra kind of feeling. Like he was not trying to be showy, he was trying to hurt you. That's what Neville did. And that's kind of what Ospreay reminds me of. When he was a babyface, he would do all the same chops, the elbows, the slaps, the kicks, but it was all very much fast and flashy. This is slow, deliberate, and like calculated, each one of his shots. So he's a much different heel now. Is it better? I don't know. It's different because he can still bust out all those big moves when he needs to. He knows being a heel, like you're supposed to not get cheered. If you do all the flashy stuff, you're gonna get cheered. If you don't do it, or save it for like the big moments when you need to, it has more of an impact. You're not gonna get cheered per se. They'll react to the move, but they're not gonna react like, yeah, Ospreay, get him. So I know why he has to do it. Is it better in the long run? I'm not sure, but that's the kind of style he's working now. Ibushi looked pretty good. Again, like this match is kind of graded on a curve because it very much is chapter 1 of Will Ospreay's, heavyweight championship run. It's chapter 1 of this feud. So Ibushi didn't do a ton. He did the zombie death stare thing to Ospreay. He was doing the Kawada kicks, and Ibushi just like stood up at the dead stare on his face and took a couple more shots and looked like he was going to fire up and kill him, but then Ospreay cut him off with a big kick. So they haven't even done that spot yet. So I guess you're going to build that in the rematch. Ibushi hit a standing Kamigoye. I believe he hit a Bomaye and or maybe a Kamigoye, I'm not sure, but he hit a standing Kamigoye, another shot for a 2 count. Ospreay recovered. He hit a hidden blade, which is the move that took out Ibushi at the Tokyo Dome 2 years ago, and then immediately followed up the hidden blade with Stormbreaker and pinned him. Clean as a sheet, clean as a whistle. Almost exactly 30 minutes is when he hit the Stormbreaker. No interference, no weapons, no chairs, tables, none of that stuff. Just beat him. After the match, Jeff Cobb came in the ring. He beat up Ibushi, hit him with the Tour of the Islands. Kevin Kelly was particularly great, yelling like, "You couldn't beat him in the G1, so you beat him up here, you jerk," and like yelling at him and stuff. That was really good. Thing I did not like, and even Kevin Kelly said this it's Easter Sunday, and Ospreay beat Ibushi and then shouted in the ring, shouted, "God is dead, God is dead." And it was just kind of like, maybe not the day for that, Will. On Easter Sunday, maybe not the best day for that. I mean, I never. This is a scorching hot take. I've never been a fan of the God imagery with Ibushi and the metaphors with that. How he saw Tanahashi as his god and he saw Nakamura as his god. So getting the heavyweight and intercontinental titles was like gifts from his god. And like, I've never been a fan of that. He looks up to him. They're mentors to him. Ibushi can get a little over dramatic. Let's not play into that. They're not gods. They're wrestlers, okay? You can have mentors. You can have people you look up to and you admire. But, like, gods, that's a little much. And so Ospreay, God is dead. Like, come on. Let's just not. But he cut a really good promo after the match. Said that everybody laughed at him forever. Said he couldn't make it in New Japan. Said he couldn't win the Best of the Super Juniors. He did that twice. Couldn't be junior champion. He did that 3 times. Couldn't win the World Heavyweight title, but here it is. He won. He did the Conor McGregor line where he's like, "I'd like to take this moment to apologize to absolutely nobody, haha." And he even had the World Heavyweight title on one shoulder and the Rev Pro British Heavyweight title on the other shoulder. Total Conor McGregor thing. So that's pretty neat. And after the match, after he said that, he said he wanted to challenge somebody. He had some unfinished business, and he called out Okada to come out. because Okada beat him at the Tokyo Dome, so he's going to give Okada the first crack. Okada comes to the ring. He's stalling. He's like getting the crowd to cheer. He's about to give his answer. When Shingo runs out, comes into the ring, snatches the mic from Okada. Crowd that actually got the crowd to go, oh, they like actually made some noise there. He took the mic and he said that he wanted the first shot at Ospreay. And I think somebody even said this. It's pretty traditional for the New Japan Cup. Whoever wins, they get the first title shot at the April pay-per-view. Whoever loses the New Japan Cup finals gets the next shot at Dentaku. I might go back and kind of look at that, but from the ones I can remember, that seems about right. But Ospreay beat Shingo in the finals. Ospreay got the first shot, so Shingo should get the next shot. So, hey, we got Ospreay versus Shingo again. Main event of the pay-per-view for the world title, probably Dentaku. So, I'm all for that. I'm excited for that one. Then I'm assuming Ospreay and Okada will be in June at Dominion. Or maybe one of the stadium shows. That's a pretty big match. They have 2 stadium shows coming up in May at the Yokohama Stadium and then the Tokyo Dome. They're doing a Tokyo Dome show on May 29th. So some big stuff coming up for New Japan. Like I said, they're kind of in a rut right now. They're not creatively bankrupt. Like that's a little overboard. They have a lot of good ideas. They have direction. All of this is long term. All of this has been thought out. All of this is planned months and months and months from now, and it was planned months and months and months before. But they're a little limited with who they have right now. The injuries, the shorter cards, the health restrictions, the government restrictions on what they can do. The crowds can't cheer. There's only so many people you can bring in. There's only so much you can do right now, and they're trying to make the best of it. I think they should cut down on the interference. I think they should cut down on the Bullet Club stuff, but they have a lot of good directions right now. And I mean, Ospreay's champion. That's solid, and especially now, it's kind of like the Evil thing last year. Give him a trial run, see how he does. Hey, if he sucks as champion, or if he stabs himself in the foot, doing this, and maybe he says something he's not supposed to. Maybe he has a bad match. Maybe crowds aren't into him. Put the title back on Okada in June. Just press the reset button. Okay, that didn't work. Let's try something else. Shingo, unfortunately, is not the guy yet. But maybe just put it back on Okada if you get scared, if you get cold feet or anything. Which they might do anyway. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to do the G1 in the fall again, or if they're going to do it in the summer. I know the Olympics, they're going to try to do them again this year, so they might just do their plan from last year and just hold the G1 in the fall again. I don't know. But, I mean, they have a little bit of time. There's a lot of different stuff they can do until then. But, I mean, there's a lot of really good matches coming out of this show. Ospreay and Shingo, Ospreay and Okada. You got Desperado and Yo from Punky 3K. You have Hiroshi Tanahashi and Jay White. You have the United Empire. Now you got a 3-man trio aside from Will Ospreay. They can go for the trios titles. Great-O-Khan, Jeff Cobb, and Hinare versus Ishii, Goto, and Yoshihashi. That's a hell of a match. That's a really, really great match. Jeff Cobb and Shingo, run that one back. Jeff Cobb and Sonata. Jeff Cobb and Ibushi, because he beat up Ibushi afterwards. A lot of different things you can do coming out of this. A lot of different directions you can go. One-off matches. I know they like to do sometimes the title match on, or all the title matches on night 2, and then just, special singles matches on night 1. Do, a whole United Empire versus Chaos, or LIJ card or something. That could be really cool. You can try that for Dentaku, maybe. I'm not sure, but I'm excited. I think there's a lot of cool stuff coming out of this, and the shows being an hour shorter help too, because you're in, you're out. Get some fun angles, some fun matches, and you're all good. I wish they did a little less with the tag matches. I wish they did a little less Bullet Club, but still really fun. I definitely recommend checking out the LIJ versus United Empire match, the junior tag match, and the main event. If you, I know nobody's going to have time over the next 2 weeks with a show every single day, but I recommend checking out these matches. And the main event, while not the best match they've ever had, was still a really solid match. So let's take a look as we're going to wrap up here. Let's take a look at the schedule. So this is this week, the next 7 days. So I guess right now, today, Monday, April 5th, you have WWE Raw from 8 Eastern to 11 Eastern. AEW Dark Elevation from 7 Eastern until about 9 Eastern, hopefully. Tuesday, you have the WWE Hall of Fame ceremony and AEW Dark. I'm not sure what time the Hall of Fame starts. Wednesday, April 7th, you have NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver Night 1, which is a really big card. And AEW Dynamite, which is also a big card, but I think NXT is going to win this week. They're going to win the final showdown of the Wednesday Night Wars. Thursday, April 8th, another big day. NXT UK Prelude, which is I guess a 1 hour little takeover for them. NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver Night 2. And Impact Wrestling on their very first Thursday night. They're going to run a big 6-man main event with Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers against, who was it? Rich Swann, Willie Mack, and Eddie Edwards. So that's a really big 6-man. Friday, April 9th is WWE SmackDown, the WrestleMania edition, where they're going to do the Andre the Giant Battle Royal with 22 guys, as well as a 4-way WWE SmackDown tag title match with Ziggler and Robert Roode versus Chad Gable and Otis versus the Street Profits versus Dominic and Rey Mysterio. 2 matches I thought for sure would be on the main WrestleMania cards, but I guess they're just going to do them on SmackDown anyway. Saturday, April 10th, and Sunday, April 11th are WrestleMania, Night 1 and Night 2. 2 very big shows, and given that they're splitting them up over 2 nights, hopefully they won't be 6 hours apiece. That would be very nice, a very nice change. And then the next week, which is a lot less, but still a lot. April 12th, WWE Raw and AEW Dark Elevation. April 13th, NXT and AEW Dark. Wednesday, April 14th, AEW Dynamite Unopposed. And might I add, NXT, their very first Tuesday, so we're going to see each show now on their own separate night, by themselves, no competition. Let's see what the ratings do, if the ratings spike, if the ratings stay the same. If they stay the same, that's tragic, but hopefully each one should jump up about, 300,000 or 400,000 viewers. Thursday, April 15th is NXT UK and Impact Wrestling, now also unopposed for them on Thursday. And then Friday, capping off of everything, the final match, the fallout from WrestleMania on WWE SmackDown. I should note the Raw and SmackDown, while WrestleMania is at Raymond James Stadium, these will be back in the Thunderdome at the Yuengling Center, I believe, in Tampa. So we are back in the Thunderdome. We are back without fans and live reactions and craziness, which I'm sure they love, because I'm sure they hate the Raw after WrestleMania crowd with the craziness and the beach balls and the chants and booing and cheering whoever they want. Now they're back and they can control everything again, so I'm sure they'll love that, but I will miss that atmosphere for sure. So that is the next 2 weeks. Buckle up, everybody. It's going to be a hell of a ride. I'm sure there's going to be some twists and turns along the way. And might I add, let me go back a screen. Thursday, I believe Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I did not have it marked on here. I will probably not be purchasing the pass, but I will be remiss to not say that the Collective, GCW's The Collective, is happening over Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. There's going to be about 3 to 4 shows per day. The spring break show they always do. A lot of wacky matches, a lot of cool matches, literally from like 10 in the morning until past midnight. A lot of big matches, a lot of cool cards, a lot of really great independent wrestling. I highly recommend checking it out, buying a pass. I believe it's on Fight TV. I believe it's on Independent Wrestling TV. Definitely check it out. You can probably Google it and find out exactly the link and exactly where to buy it. But I probably won't be reviewing them. If something happens, I'll try to check it out and I'll try to make a note of it. As with all of these, if I don't have a chance to catch the show Thursday, I'm probably not going to be able to watch Impact, but I'm going to watch NXT UK and NXT TakeOver. Wednesday, I'm going to try my hardest to watch both shows. Tuesday, I'm probably Only going to watch one or the other. And try to have as much info as I can. But I'm planning on doing these live streams every single day for the next 2 weeks. So tell your friends, share the channel, share this video, like, subscribe, whatever you want to do. I'm going to be on live about, like I said, around the same time, 11:30, 12 o'clock Eastern. Whenever these shows wrap up, whenever I get done watching them, get everything all set up, I should be on here to stream. Hopefully these will get a little bit better as I go, as far as production quality, being able to chat. Hopefully more people tune in and show up. So thank you for whoever watched. Thank you for whoever's checking this out. And enjoy the next 2 weeks, and I'll see you again.